All in Sports Network. We love sports.
It is Wednesday, May 14th, right here on your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns, presented by Rogue Sports Network. That's Jake Jimerson. I'm Tanner Carlson. Today's episode with the Texas Longhorn baseball and softball having the night off on Tuesdays. We don't have too much to discuss in terms of getting prepared for this week, but we do have a Red River showdown for you. This is the final regular season series for the baseball team, traveling to Norman, Oklahoma to take on the Sooners. And Jake and I are going to give you a breakdown as to what this game and what this series, the implications of it for Texas, the implications for Oklahoma, and how these two teams match up and what we'd really like to see coming out for these two programs to end the regular season, getting into postseason play. And so without overlooking this series, Jake, Texas probably needs to get back on track. Maybe good having the night off on Tuesday, kind of getting mentally prepared more so for this game, and maybe trying to figure out what's wrong with those bats.
Yeah, I mean, the day off definitely is going to hurt them. Get a little time for the coaches to get some work in, look at the film, kind of try to maybe diagnose what's going wrong at the plate. It feels like just about everyone is in a cold slump right now.
Get in the batting cages a little bit.
Yeah, and just kind of figure it out, because what better time to get right than OU? But this OU team is a good team. I mean, they're a top 25 team, and Texas just lost to a team that was outside of the top 25 at home. You almost feel like OU is, in most people's mind, going to be the favorite going into this weekend, just based off the Texas play as of recently. And so what better time to get right than when maybe people are starting to doubt you a little bit because of your recent skid?
Well, and they're a hungry team right now. They just got swept by Kentucky, a team that Texas handled pretty easy, not easily, but pretty confidently. And so they're coming in, and they've got a lot of implications going postseason as well with this series. They don't want to end the season off of two sweeps. They don't want to end their season losing back-to-back series and going into the SEC, dropping possibly two spots in the standings where they're currently sitting at 11. They could finish at about 13, 14 range near the bottom of the pack. And so that just makes their road that much more difficult through the SEC tournament. And so, and obviously it's Texas OU. I mean, what more motivation in your respective sport do you need to get up for a game, a series, or what have you, a meet, than it being Texas OU week?
Yeah. I mean, this is in baseball hasn't always been the marquee rivalry that it feels like in football. But OU's been doing pretty good in baseball recently. They have a pretty good history in baseball as well. And so, Texas kind of being back up this year, there's definitely a lot more juice going into this weekend, especially since, Texas could already had the SEC wrapped up, and this series would not have the feel that it does going into it. Whereas now, it's a big series. It's a big series for OU because they also need to get right. They've been on a skid, as you mentioned. But then for Texas, it's not only trying to get right, it's trying to secure that, SEC regular season championship that felt like a lock a few weeks ago, and now is very much in jeopardy. I mean, if they play like they've been playing, they could go in and not win a single game this weekend very easily.
Yeah, Jake, we hand up on our part. We did not necessarily get into details in discussing Jonah Williams's viral at bat in the previous series, where he kind of, I wouldn't say get off the rails, but he was just pumping up his team. And you and I actually had a discussion on air about how baseball's not really that raw sport like you get in hockey, where you kind of get to hit somebody, or like in football where a big hit or someone, getting riled up can really kind of change the momentum of the game. And Jonah Williams, I think, a football player at heart, and he has the talent and skill as a baseball player to obviously play at this level. But I found it to be something of kind of that Energizer Bunny energy of, I'm just trying to get my team raring up. And if it forces me to not look bad, but to possibly be thrown out or what have you, then he's going to take that one for the team just to try to get the blood flowing a little bit more.
Yeah, the people who are mad at this are old. That's
There's really no other way to say that.
That is my take on it. I didn't really bring it up because I didn't think it to be that big of a deal, to be honest.
Right.
I like that someone was showing some passion and trying to get the team going. If anything, it made me even more excited to see what he's going to do on the football field, because as he's shown, what should be his second semester in high school, he's playing for, a top 3 team in the country and forcing himself on the field. I wouldn't be surprised if he does the same thing on the football field. And it's because of that confidence and energy. And there was someone who was talking trash about it online, and he had quote tweeted it and said basically just that, it's confidence. I'm confident in myself, and I'm confident in my teammates. And I was just, trying to get the team going, and that confidence is a good thing. It's never a bad thing. I mean, unless you're overconfident, but he clearly isn't, because he is that level of talent. So I had no problem with it. I think people who did were fans of other teams, and then he backed it up with the game-winning clearing double the next day. And then all those people who were talking crap on him from other fan bases were real quiet. And some of the older, fans in the fan base that get upset when anyone shows any passion, all of a sudden they were being quiet as well.
I think that I think the unwritten rules of baseball are starting to go away a little bit. I mean, in terms of the etiquette of the game, we're starting to get, even at the MLB level, more bat flips, more guys jawing at each other, more guys, crowding the plate and kind of talking their smack with their play a little bit more so than what would typically be considered frowned upon or against those unwritten rules. And I think it's starting to show a highlight of the game that people are actually enjoying the product a little bit more because of it, because I do think it brings out those competitive juices a little bit, like you were mentioning, and not only confidence, but the competitiveness. They're professional athletes. They have, I mean, could you imagine an Ed Reed coming over the middle and destroying a wide receiver on a quick slant and knocking the ball loose, and him just walk back to the huddle and doing nothing? It just makes the game boring. Like, you got to have a little bit of fire under your belly.
Yeah, it almost makes it seem like you care less. And I mean, I've always liked that fire when you're in sports. And you talk about it being at the MLB level. That's made the MLB so much more. If the MLB just knew how to simply market their product and not start playoff games at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, their numbers would probably be way higher than they are right now, because I've enjoyed watching the MLB in the last couple of years, especially in the playoffs, because of that. And fans leech onto that energy. I mean, the environments in the MLB have been better than they ever been. And it's the same way in college baseball. Look at that Arkansas environment, as bad as it felt as a Texas fan, they do have an electric baseball environment. I mean, their baseball environment sounded louder than what their football environment did. That's kind of some of these SEC schools where baseball is sometimes a little bit king over football for some of these schools.
Yeah, no, for sure. Just, I mean, like, some of them are basketball schools over foot. Like Kentucky's a basketball.
You could argue Texas has been a baseball school. I mean, comparatively, they're the most successful. They're arguably the most successful baseball program in the entire country as far as a history goes.
Sure.
They haven't won in since 2005, similar to football. But as a course of history, they've had the most success out of any Texas athletic program, other than, maybe swimming and diving. And so, but as far as the big three sports go, baseball is number one on the success totem.
No, you're 100% correct, Jake. Let's go ahead and compare these two teams between Texas and OU. This is within the SEC conference. I mean, it obviously would go hand in hand with national, but within the SEC, OU is better than Texas in a couple of categories, but for the most part, Texas, whether it be the bats or the pitching, outranks OU. OU is number 10 in the conference with batting average. Texas is at number 11. OU batting 283, Texas at 277. Texas does have more runs than OU at 248 or 348 compared to OU's 339. Texas has 20 more home runs than OU, 76 to 56, and that's in a park where Texas is not a home run heavy ballpark that Texas plays at in Austin. OU, a better on-base percentage, than Texas. And so really batting average and on-base percentages are the two main ones that OU does beat Texas on. But when it comes to pitching, like Texas in the majority of the conference, has the number one pitching rotation in the SEC. They have a 3.53 ERA to OU's 4.47. So just under an entire run is what Texas is averaging over OU. And then, they've given up. Texas pitching has given up less hits, runs, has a lower opponent batting average, singles, doubles, triples, home runs, you name it. The whole gamut when it comes to the pitching staff is essentially above and beyond what OU brings to the table on the mound.
Yeah, but the concern right now going into the series is not walking batters and not hitting batters. That has continued to be a big issue for this staff in the last couple weeks. And obviously it is something that teams are seeing on film. They're starting to maybe crowd the plate a little bit more and try to draw those, and it's working. And until you show that you aren't doing that anymore, teams are going to keep doing anything they can to take advantage of it. And so I'll be trying to pay attention to two things this weekend. That is, and the batting average, by the way, has been an issue the whole season. We kind of talked about it earlier in the year, where it's like, despite the fact Texas is number one in the country, their batting average is kind of bad. In terms of the,
they've stayed bottom of the
your
half.
mic cut out.
My mic cut
That
out.
or my headset cut
That
out.
or your headset is out.
I think my headset cut out.
Yeah. Okay. But Texas has typically been on the bottom half of the batting average, really, for the majority of the season.
I can't hear a word you were saying, but I totally agree with everything you said. Yeah, that's weird. Okay, I'm back now. With that batting average so low, the thing that had been carrying them was that slugging percentage, was the extra base hits, was the home runs. And when those go dry, the offense goes dry.
Yep.
And so that's what we've kind of seen. They've been stranding a lot of people on bases all of a sudden because you're not getting those big knocks to send them all home. And so I would like to see some consistent hitting this weekend. And arguably, just as importantly, I would like to see, the pitching staff have a lot less hit batters, a lot less walks, a lot less just essentially unearned runs that they've given up here in the last couple weeks. If they can clean that stuff up, they'll find themselves with a series win and an SEC title.
Jake, let's go ahead and look at the postseason outlook for these two teams, and then we will wrap up the episode for the people today. Texas wins the SEC and likely the number one overall seed in regionals with a series win. That still remains true. They win this series 2-1 or a clean sweep. Texas should get that number one overall seed in regionals, and then also would win the SEC regular season outright. OU is sitting at the 11th seed in the SEC, could drop down to 13 if swept in this series. They've got about a 3-game lead on A&M right now within the conference. But still looking to qualify 2 regionals. Their current prediction, again, subject to change. A lot is happening at a lot of different times, but current prediction would be that kind of that 2 seed in the 14th region with Oregon State. And that's kind of where Oklahoma currently sits right now. But if they get swept or lose this series, they are in danger following their getting swept by Kentucky. They're in danger of dropping down to a 3 or 4 seed, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, they're securely in the regionals, but if they got swept in this series, now granted, that Kentucky series is what really hurt them. But they definitely could fall to like a 3 seed very, very easily, though they are kind of on the top end of those 2 seeds right now, or at least I don't know if that was before or after the Kentucky series.
That was, I believe those predictions were before the series. So
yeah. And so you have to imagine that is going to drop them quite a bit. And then if you get swept in a series to Texas, that's going to drop you even more, especially with it being at home. But for OU, they probably just need to win about 1 out of the 3 to probably secure about a 2. But still, they're playing for seeding, and you're playing for that SEC seeding for the SEC tournament, which will matter for them as far as that regional seeding goes. And you're just playing for the rivalry. You're playing to try to deny Texas an SEC title.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about all these ulterior motives when it comes to, seeding in the SEC and postseason. It's very simple for this series, in my opinion, to get motivated. It's Texas OU at the end of the day. I mean, I don't care what sport it is. I don't care if you're diving off of a high dive. I don't care if you're rowing in a boat. You're going against Texas or you're going against Oklahoma, and that stadium is split 50-50 at the 50-yard line. you're definitely all juices pumping and you're ready to go. I don't care what sport you play. Texas OU means something between these two programs and any sport.
Yeah, it is, the premier rival for Texas at the end of the day. OU is the number one rival for the majority of the fan base. I think a lot of the players consider it to be the number one rivalry across all sports. And this weekend's a big one because, Texas wins one, they secure at least a share of the SEC title. But, I'm sure those players want to win it outright. And I'm excited to see how they come out this weekend because, weekend since it starts on Thursday. But I'm excited to see how they come out and kind of respond to the skid they've been on because they didn't really respond that well against Florida. They did find a way to claw out one game, but still, when you have a Sunday game at home, senior day, to secure an SEC title, you should win that game. Especially since Florida's not, I know they've been playing pretty good baseball. They're still not one of the better teams. Texas has beaten a lot better teams than them. And so that was a really disappointing loss. And so how are they going to rebound out that? How's the coaching staff going to try to get them prepared? Make tweaks, make changes for this series.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. That is Jake Jimerson. I'm Tanner Carlson. Yeah, we can make a quick prediction before we log off. I'm going to say a clean sweep for the Texas Longhorns. A 3-0 series sweep for Texas. OU ends their season on a 6-game skid. Actually, a more than a 7-game skid, but losing 2 straight series by getting swept and back-to-back series going into SEC play.
I'm going to do my job of going back to Mr. Pessimist. I kept picking this team the last couple of weeks, saying, they've given me no reason to not believe they can't respond to this. I'm starting to think that the injuries have happened or too much to this point. I think they'll win one and secure that share of the SEC title. But I do think they drop the series in hopefully a closer affair than the last couple have been, but I do think they'll drop it on the road, but win one. So 1-2 in favor of OU.
All right. Well, 2 ends of the spectrum. There you have it right there. That's what this podcast is all about. And so, again, like, share, subscribe to the channel. We release these episodes at noon each and every day, Monday through Friday. Unless there's there's a special event on a Saturday that we want to give an immediate reaction to, we'll do that as well. But give us a like, give us a share, give us a subscribe. We appreciate all the support. We'll keep giving you content 5 days a week on your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns right here on All In Horns. And then always, ladies and gentlemen, hook 'em.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.